Hi, my name is Donna Harris, and I am the owner and CEO of Bookkeeping Made Simple. And this video is on 5 things you need to survive and succeed, to thrive and succeed as a powerful woman. Well, the first thing you need is a thick skin. I was raised with 5 sisters, and I am very well aware how women can treat each other. Ideally, they don't treat each other badly, but I had my sisters say some biting things. In fact, every woman I know has at some point said something unkind to me. So I have a thick skin. I try to avoid that, but if someone is mean to me verbally, I don't let it bother me too much. I try not to anyway. Honestly, the problem is not you, it's them. So let them stew in their own mediocrity. People get envious. They don't like being around people that they perceive as being better than them, whether it's more powerful or better educated, sometimes better looking, skinnier for women, more fit. People don't like to see excellence is really what it comes down to. They like to see it in people that they don't know, but they don't like to see it up close and personal. So have a thick skin. People are going to say things to you that you do not like, especially in the world of social media. People seem to think that they can just be mean on social media. You just have to have a thick skin. Second, don't take anyone's advice unless they're more powerful than you are. The reason I say that is I have talked to people and I say they have a problem for every solution. So if I come up with a solution, well, but I can't do that because they're not the kind of people I want to hang out with. I want to be around people who are at least as successful, if not more so than me. And I certainly am not going to take advice from someone who tells me all the ways I can't do something. I consider can't a 4-letter word, which it is. I can. There's always a way to accomplish what I want to accomplish. Now, whether I know what that way is that day, probably not. Possibly not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I do know that a way exists. And that's kind of a law of attraction thing. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but the fact that I know there's a way to accomplish what I want to accomplish, but maybe I don't know how to get there from here. Then I go and I talk to people who are more successful than me, who are good at coaching. So don't take advice from anyone less successful than you, because they're very likely to try to tear you down to their level. Take advice from people who are very successful, who are, and your definition of success may vary, by the way. If you are very money driven, you may look at and say, I want to be like Elon Musk. He's the wealthiest man on the planet. If you are not so money driven, you may look at people who are say, if you want to be fit, don't take advice from someone who's obese. If you want to quit smoking, don't take advice from a chain smoker. If you want to quit drinking, don't take advice from an alcoholic. You want to talk to people who are already where you want to be, whatever that is. If you want to have a large family, don't ask someone who has no children about it. I am a single mother. I take advice from people who have children, who understand that that the things that you want in life are difficult, maybe difficult, but you kind of have to choose your heart, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So you want to hang out with people and take advice from people who are more successful than you. Again, the definition of success is yours. You don't have to say financially successful, but the people who are where you want to be, take advice from them. Third, be willing to learn from your mistakes. So many people don't do this. It baffles me, but I do this all the time. I make mistakes. I make bad mistakes sometimes. Everything from mismanaging a client to the point that we both were so mad at each other, we fired each other. It's only happened a couple of times, but afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, I should never have let this get this far. So there's work mistakes and there's life mistakes, and we all make them. Everybody makes them. The trick is to take these mistakes and see what you can learn from them. Excuse me. What can I do to be better as a result of making this mistake? This could be anything from, if I had an argument with my boyfriend, by the way, it very seldom happens because he is a wonderfully supportive man. If I have a fight with my boyfriend, I'm going to sit down and say, what was my role in this? What can I do better to keep this from happening again? I do not blame him. He has his own baggage. If it really was something that he did, I will sit him down after the fight and talk to him about it when we're calm. But I don't blame him. Okay. I want to learn from that experience. So I don't want to cast blame. I want to discuss it, or maybe just look at it inside myself. What can I do better next time? What can I do? Because honestly, that is the only thing in life I can control is me. What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again if I didn't like it? So then I take that and I start really trying to improve myself. Maybe I need to be more even-tempered. Maybe I need to make sure I'm getting enough rest. Maybe I need to make sure that I'm working out better. Whatever it is, I will look at that and go, this is something I can control to make myself a better person. Or if it's a business, what processes and procedures can I put in place to make sure this doesn't happen again? So I will then I will start looking at, what happened and why did this happen? What caused it to snowball? Was it because we weren't willing to admit a mistake? I always admit my mistakes, by the way. I've had difficult conversations where I've had to say, yeah, I did that. I don't like having those conversations. But I think it's important to be willing to admit when you've done something wrong. And then I take that and say, what can I learn from this? So processes and procedures in business. If I'm having problems onboarding clients, I need to refine my onboarding process, and it needs to be a process. It can't be just me winging it. If I'm having problems with, maybe tax clients, I need to improve my process. So I take my mistakes and I start really, really working on, this is how I want to train my staff. This is how I want to improve our processes so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes. I don't mind making mistakes, but I don't like making the same mistake multiple times. And that way we can tighten things up and make it a better business. That way we can bring more value to our clients. And really that's what we're in business to do. Growth really happens in adversity and because of mistakes. There is a story that I've heard circulating about a junior executive at I want to say it's Pepsi, I don't remember, who made a mistake that cost his company $10 million. And the president called him in and this poor guy comes in. He knew he was going to get fired. But the president of the company said, well, we don't want to fire you. We just spent $10 million teaching you never to do this again. We want you to learn from it. And that really speaks to me. Number 4, never stop educating yourself. Most people never pick up a book again after they're done with the formal part of their education. And that's heartbreaking to me. I read somewhere between 150 to 300 books a year. Yes, as a single mom. Yes, as a business owner. I've heard people say, oh, you can't read 10 books a month or whatever it is that they said CEOs read. I am a member of the Century Club many times over. I read a lot. I read on a variety of subjects. I read novels. I read steamy romances. Everything. I laugh and go, I read Danielle Steele because it's an escape. I read James Michelin because I like to learn things in a novel form, history, and I adore history. I read business books, a lot of business books, how to sell, how to tighten up your accounting firm. Anything that I can really put my hands on, I will read because there's always something to learn from it. Always. Even the Harlequin romances that I kind of grew up with, they're very formulaic, but I can still learn. There's still something to learn. And I am constantly looking for ways to learn. I love to look at how other people view the world. Now, everybody has different experiences, and I love learning about other people's experiences. So when I was in Germany, I don't recommend this. When I was in Germany, I lived in Germany for 3 years, and I really dove deep into World War II because it was just right there. It was just below the surface. And I was very interested in it. I talked to my landlady about it, and she wasn't thrilled that this young American girl was asking her about it. But I was willing to talk, and I was willing to listen, and I was willing to read a lot. So I have learned a lot about World War II in Germany. There's more left to learn. I'm never going to be an expert on it because I have other things that I'm working on. Just the idea of sitting down and saying, I can learn from someone else's experience, that seems to be a lost art today. Kind of went the way of reading. People worry about getting their credentials, their formal education, but then they forget that the education has to be continued their entire lives. So make sure you're educating yourself. If you don't have time to sit and read, and I firmly believe that everybody has time to sit and read, I read when I'm working out in the morning. I read when I'm relaxing in the evening. I read, little 5-minute sprints here and there. There's always time. You have to decide that that's important. And I decided that when I was probably 6. I've been a huge reader my entire life. Success leaves clues. I want to find out what those clues are. Failure also leaves clues, and I want to know what those clues are. What made certain people fail? What made people fail when they seem to have the whole world at their feet? I want to know about that because I want to avoid those pitfalls. And because I read a lot, and because I'm constantly trying to educate myself, and if you don't like to read, there's always audiobooks, so I don't want to hear it. You should be hearing it, but I don't want to hear any complaints. I don't like people who have a problem for every solution. I learn a lot, and I really love and love hearing about, and I respect other people's experiences. So because of that, my views have evolved over time. I used to be very black and white in my thinking, and now I'm much more nuanced, depending on what it is. I'll leave it at that. And the last thing I would suggest to be a very powerful person, how to thrive and succeed as a powerful woman, is to be kind. Now, many of you probably heard me say that sentence and thought, oh, you mean nice. No, I don't like nice women. Nice women are pushovers. They're not going to speak up because it's not nice. They are, and many of us were raised to be nice. And by that, I mean, they don't stand for anything. Many nice women are passive aggressive. So they may be nice to your face, but then you have to pull the knives out of your back. What I mean is kindness often comes across as cruelty. We've heard it in the song, "You have to be cruel to be kind." That's really true. You have to have your boundaries, and you have to demand that they be respected. You have to be willing to call people out when they're not doing the right thing. Kind of an example from my life, it's really hard to talk about, by the way, is that I was a battered spouse. And I've met other battered women that were nice. They were too nice to do the scary thing to get out at the first red flag. Well, I didn't get out at the first red flag. I didn't get out at the second red flag. But when he hit me, I got out. And I got out firmly. I made sure he went to jail. I stood up for myself and my baby daughter. I did a lot of things that day that were not nice. But years later, my former husband said it was really the kindest thing I could do for him because I stood up for myself. One, I fought back physically. I mean, he was going to kill me. I thought. I had never been hit in the face before. It was a very unpleasant morning. But I stood up for myself and I fought back and, made him stop. And then I also, because he was, I was 120 pounds, maybe soaking wet. I was 15 pounds underweight because of the stresses of the marriage. I stood up for myself. I fought back. I put him in jail. I went to a battered women's shelter. I arranged for my daughter and myself to go home to my parents where I knew I'd be safe. I was not shy about telling people what had happened. This was back when women who'd been hit in the face would say, "Oh, I ran into a door." And I would say, "Really, if you believe that?" I ran into a door. I didn't pursue it more than I needed to. So I did what I had to do to get myself, to make him stop and get myself out, but I wasn't vindictive. I wasn't out to get him afterwards. I just wanted him to stop hitting me and stay away from me. And so I did that. And in order to do that, I could not be nice. In the end, years later, he told me that it was the kindest thing I'd ever done. Because I stood up for him. I stood up for myself, rather, stood up to him for myself. Because I was unpleasant when I needed to be. He now looks back and says it was the worst thing he ever did in his life. And kudos to him, by the way. I don't want this to run him down. He turned his life around after that because I was willing to stand up for myself. He turned his life around because he realized we were high school sweethearts. He realized what a horrible mistake he had made and now he's a pastor. He's happily married. Couldn't be married to me. That's okay. He's happily married. He's turned his life around. He's doing really well, and I'm so thrilled for him. I still don't want to be around him, but I'm super thrilled for him, and I'm really glad that he was able to do those things. He would not have done that if I had not stood up for myself. It would have been a much more tragic outcome. So be kind. And sometimes that means being cruel, and it almost never means being nice. As a businesswoman, as an accountant, part of being kind involves sitting down with clients and having very difficult conversations. Everything from, you're going to lose everything if you don't pay your sales tax. I've given you the returns. You need to file them and pay them. To you cannot do any more pro bono work for my attorney clients. And the best clients, by the way, are happy to have those conversations because they know that it's difficult, it's uncomfortable, it's not nice, but it's necessary. And I try to be, I don't sugarcoat anything, but I also am not needlessly hurtful. So I'm polite, but I'm also very clear that this is what has to happen in your business for you to be successful. And the clients that I've had those conversations with have been very thankful, because even though it didn't seem very nice in the moment, it was kind in the long run. My experience with women, and again, I have 5 sisters, so I know a lot about women. My experience with women is they will be nice right up to the moment that they are seriously hurt. They don't like to rock the boat. And so a powerful woman is willing to be cruel in order to have a better outcome for everyone involved later. So don't be nice, be kind. Stand up for yourself. Be firm in your principles. Be professional, but don't worry about being nice. Those are my 5 ways women, powerful women, can thrive and succeed. Thank you so much for watching. I am looking forward to having you subscribe to my channel, Bookkeeping Made Simple, or to, feel free to comment, reach out, let me know what I can do to help you in your business. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.